everyone. I wanted to quickly show you how this grade calculator works. I know at first glance it's kind of intimidating, um, but there are two grade columns. One is the current grade, so that's kind of like your running grade in the class, and then the other one is like a hypothetical grade. So I have everything kind of spread out based on the grade category they belong in, and each orange section kind of tallies up the total weighted sum of whatever the weighted grades are in that section. Red boxes are point values that haven't been assigned yet, so things like exams and activities, sometimes I adjust these from semester to semester, so I don't know the exact point values until I'm done either writing the exam or editing the activity. So if you see a box that has a red outline on it, that means the points for that particular assignment need to be pulled from Beachboard after you've completed the assignment, and you'll be able to locate those point values in the grade book on Beachboard. So what you can do to start is go to the grade section on Beachboard and then insert all of the grades that you have received to date. Now, I've done a sample of this. I just picked random numbers and I input grades in any assignments that have been completed already. Note that the grades you're inserting are only going to be in the white cells for each of our kind of grade categories. The weighted cells, or the colored ones, will automatically calculate when you insert a point value. So you'll see they're set to 0 currently, but they do have a formula inserted in them already, so don't touch those. The current grade will calculate based off of, if I double click this, you can see what points go in it. That's currently set to calculate your grade based off of the sum of all of these little orange sections. Okay, so the orange sections again make up your the percentage of your final grade. And so when you add all of those orange boxes together, that should give you the point value out of 100. Now, it's set as an error right now because some of our equations don't have values in them. So for simplicity's sake, I'm going to set these point values to 10, just because it's easy math. And then down here, you'll now see there's a grade calculated. Note that this grade isn't actually accurate. So this is if you had completed all of the points for the class. If you want to know your current grade, not including any missing assignments, you could do that by, let's see, I'm going to do it in this cell instead, but we'll just put equals sum, and then going from top to bottom, you'll click on the weighted cells of the assignments that have been completed to date. Okay, so I'm just clicking these as I go, and why did that one not show up? That's weird. I'm just going to keep going. Okay. There it goes. I just needed to scroll. Okay. Oh, wait. Just kidding. I'm going to take out those last 3 because we haven't done them yet. So only the ones that have point values next to them. And we've done 3 discussions. And we're also going to include any extra credit that we've done so far. Oh, actually, don't add extra credit in that because that's extra on top of the points we've already completed. So Yeah, that was a little bit lengthy, but you only click on the points that we've attempted, right? And you're choosing this out of column because those are the total possible points or weighted points that have been available to you so far. So let's say we've attempted 55.5 points total in the class. You can then say, all right, what's my current sum divided by this point total? And then it will return what the percentage is. So this hypothetical student has an 81% in the class currently. Let's say they're just like, I want to finish with a B and that's all I need in life. We can go over to this hypothetical grade area and we can say, all right, reasonably based off of their previous exam scores, let's say they're shooting for a 70% on exam 3. So your hypothetical percentage or hypothetical grade is inserted as a decimal point between 0 and 1. So 70%, 0.7 times the number of points the assignment is worth. So let's say we're shooting for a 70%. Remember, you drop your lowest exam score, so we're just going to say maybe they don't need to take the final, right? And then you can do the same thing for the rest of the assignments in the class. So let's say we're lowballing and we just want to know the minimum required to get a B in the class. So I'm going to start my percentages at 70% because I think that's pretty reasonable for this hypothetical student. Okay. And then discussions. This would be like bare minimum on discussions, like if you did your one post and called it a day. So we'll do discussions. And then the final project, again, is a group effort. Most people honestly do pretty good on these unless your group just does not have it together. And then let's also say that this person attempted the last 2 extra credit opportunities in the semester. Okay, so if they had at least a 70% on everything in the class, it wouldn't quite be enough for them to keep the B that they currently have. So what we could do instead is say, all right, what are some of the, bigger weighted grades in the class that you're probably looking at differences between discussion or the final project and the exam. So let's start off by saying instead of a 70%, maybe we're shooting for a low B on exam 3. So you can change that percentage and then see how your hypothetical grade changes. Okay, so that's more or less how this hypothetical grade section works. And then as you get your grades, you just would insert them in these unfilled boxes, or in these ones, or both. Okay. The other feature that's on the spreadsheet is kind of a missing assignments counter. So if any of you get towards the end of the semester and you end up getting below a C, or you're borderline CD or worse, you can look at the number of missing assignments you have in the class and what percentage of the total course assignments you've completed to date. So the number of missing assignments, this is like a huge count if formula. It basically counts up all of the 0 grades. So you'll notice 0 grades or missing assignments. When you put a 0 in that, it'll turn red. So they're easier to spot, right? So this person, hypothetical person, has 2 missing assignments. Out of the entire course, they've currently completed 94% or considered 94% based on the number of missing assignments. So this obviously, this grade is, or this percentage is considering all of the assignments in the class. So there's a total of 31 assignments from beginning to end of the semester, not including extra credit opportunities. So if at the end of the semester this person only had 2 missing assignments, they've completed everything else, they would have completed 94%. If you get to a point in this, like towards the end of the semester, I usually will send an email out to everybody letting them know what their current grade is, and basically what they need on the final if they're on a cusp grade and they have the potential to bump their grade up. I usually say what you need on the final in order to do that, if you need to take the final at all, and then kind of a hypothetical grade on the group project and what you would need if you were shooting for the minimum letter grade that seems attainable at a certain time. Okay, so if people get to that, once we get to that email stage, if you are borderline like CD range, usually I only offer this to people who are at a C or lower and who have several missing assignments. But there is a grade option that not a lot of students are aware of where you can file for an incomplete. And the minimum requirement is that you've attempted at least 60% of the course assignments in order to be eligible for the incomplete. So that's why I have this here, just for people who are kind of maybe have a lot more missing assignments, which has brought their grade down. Then we take a look at, okay, well, how many assignments have you completed over the course of the semester? Is an incomplete possible? That way your GPA doesn't completely get destroyed. Okay. The hypothetical grade calculator is also good just for projected interest. I feel like sometimes when you are able to materialize like the minimum required that you need on an assignment in order to get a certain grade in the class, it kind of helps reduce the pressure on you to like perform super well, because sometimes there are weeks where you just have more going on in one class than you do the other, and you might not have as much time to devote to this as you usually do. So if you underperform than what your normal is, it's not going to make that huge of an impact if you kind of have these point estimates on what you need on these assignments for the rest of the semester. Okay, if you were kind of in an area where, let's say, you bombed exam 2, right? So maybe instead of a 22, we had a 15, right? Which is technically a failing grade. What you could do in this hypothetical situation is you can also insert, like, okay, what if I decided to take the final to eliminate that exam 2 grade? What would happen if I got at least a 70% on that? And then this calculation drops the lowest grade in this section. So it would recognize, oh, 5 is the lowest grade, so we're going to drop that one out of the sum calculation, and then you can see how dropping that would affect the final course grade. Okay, so there's a lot of moving parts to this, but all in all, it is this is how I end up calculating everything for every student in the class at the end of this semester. So it's also good to kind of cross-check if you're using this, cross-check it with the grades that have been posted. If something looks wrong, please let me know and I can double check to make sure that it's been inputted correctly in my grade book and that things get corrected on the Beachboard end as well. Okay, if you have any questions about the grade calculator, if you're having trouble using it, or maybe you want to meet to make sure that you've put everything in correctly, or that you're using it correctly, or if you have questions on how to use it, I'm happy to meet over Zoom or answer any email questions you might have. Okay, but hopefully this is helpful in reducing some pressure coming towards the end of the semester so that you can figure out where you need to focus your attention for your classes. All right?